Welcome to today's webinar, everybody. I will give you a few 10 to 15 seconds to settle in. Please do mute your microphones when you get a chance. Okay, here we go. Welcome again to our meeting today. Happy Friday. Please do keep your microphones muted. I will now hand it off to Amber, our and our other presenters. Welcome.
Thank you, Belma. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for attending. We're here talking about the Presidential Roundtable, so an opportunity for you all, either new to your position in your state and regional organization as a president-elect, this is an opportunity for us to gather, to learn from one another, and for AACRAO to also kind of listen in on how you all are doing, what questions you have, and where AACRAO can support. So my name is Amber Salati, and I am going to turn things over to Chris Huang now, who's going to run through the kind of agenda for today.
Thanks, Amber. Welcome everybody to the state and regional webinar. It's good to have you here. And as Amber said, this is a pretty informal meeting where we can kind of collaborate. We know there's different challenges that as U.S. presidents face at your state and regional. And what we'll do is we have a couple of panelists who will introduce ourselves in a bit. And then we have a couple of just updates from AACRAO and state and regional that we just want to make sure that you're aware of, that's coming down in the next couple of months. And then we'll be having a couple of different breakout sessions that you can select to join, whether, if you have a hot topic or what you want to know more about. And the panelists will kind of be going in and out of the different rooms and so forth. So make sure that you introduce yourselves and bring questions and be willing to share. And then President-elect Carter will kind of bring us home in terms of having a listening session, and then just a couple of AACRAO updates. So I think with that, I'll turn it over to our President-elect Jackie Carter to introduce herself.
Good afternoon, everyone. As Chris said, I'm Jackie Carter. My pronouns are she and her. I am the Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Manager for Washington University and Olin Business School. But my foundation and my roots, professional roots, rely in registrar work, student affairs, and admission work. But all of that in that work was doing the work that I'm doing today, which is DEI or EDI, as we say on my campus. And thank you for joining and sharing your voices. And I just want you to know, anytime I have an opportunity to be in front of staff, I want you to know that I see you and hear you and know that your work is really the foundation of the work that all our institution is held on. And so you're very important to us. And I will pass it back to Chris.
Again, my name is Chris Huang. I am my day job, I'm the Associate Vice Chancellor and Registrar at Purdue Fort Wayne. I've been there since May of last year. I'm a past president of AACRAO, Illinois. That's where most of my professional experience has been. And I am rolling off the State and Regional Relations Committee as chair, but will be going into a different leadership role with AACRAO for the incoming Vice President for Information Technology. Good to see you all here, and I think Amber is up next.
I'm having to switch between different things on my computer between the slide decks. Hi, everybody. Again, I am Amber Salati. I use she, her pronouns. and I am the Associate Director in the Office of the Registrar on the University of Minnesota Twin Cities campus. And I just yesterday celebrated 19 years with the university, not all within the Office of the Registrar, but a good number of them. And I have been active in my state and regional organization, AACRAO, the Upper Midwest AACRAO, being a past president as well as a past program chair for the organization. And I will be taking over from Chris as the incoming chair for the AACRAO State and Regional Relations Committee. And last but not least, Jonica.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jonica Dreer, and I go by she, her pronouns. I'm currently the executive director for pre-college programs at Kent State University, and I've had tons of experience within AACRAO. So shout out to the current president and president-elect who are here with us today. I've been the president, past president, of course, which I am now, VP of programming and also communications, and I've thoroughly enjoyed each of those experiences. So now we're going to go into just a couple of state and regional updates, just so all of our leadership is aware of ways that you can continue to get involved with AACRAO. So the AACRAO annual meeting is coming up very soon. I hope that everyone is registered. There is a state and regional pre-conference workshop. It is free, and that's super awesome. So a wonderful opportunity for you not to extend our budgets already, but still be able to network and mix and mingle with other leaders outside of this virtual environment in person. Registration is required, and we do want to let you know to plan accordingly because it is on Sunday in the morning. So Sunday, March 26th from 8 to 11:30 a.m. There's also a roundtable at the annual meeting for leadership development, and that's going to be Monday, March 27th in the morning. There's a state and regional leadership networking opportunity if you're not able to make it for Sunday, and state and regional associations roundtable. So many opportunities to continue this discussion. And we also hope to continue it online as well for individuals who need the virtual option. The AACRAO leadership meeting is going to be the weekend of the 22nd through the 24th. It is an absolutely phenomenal opportunity. Please go ahead and mark those dates on your calendar. Your executive board teams are also welcome to attend as well. So more details will be forthcoming. Please make sure that you are signed up for our state and regional listserv so that you can get up-to-date information about all the wonderful things that are helping to prepare the development, but also the engagement, leadership, and ongoing continuity of our state and our regional associations.
All right, so now we're going to jump into really the meat of why we are here today, is to give an opportunity for folks to network, an opportunity for folks to talk with one another about what is going on in their organizations. So we have kind of a roundtable breakout sessions style set up for these conversations. We have breakout rooms that have been put together, and folks can join a room at their leisure. But the specific breakout rooms that we have are the topics that you see in front of you: conference and professional curriculum planning, governance and legislation, membership, the nuts and bolts, succession and strategic planning, and then an open Q&A. So what we will do when we open the breakout rooms is folks can go ahead and join a room that is of interest to them. We will have the rooms open for about 20 minutes for folks to have discussion. You can jump between rooms. You don't have to stay just in one room, but we will ask that in each room that somebody take either notes or be willing to kind of speak once we regroup as a larger group, to report out the conversations that have been happening within those individual rooms. So we'll have those kind of individual conversations for folks in breakout rooms, and then regroup with the larger group to debrief. We do have some kind of prompts and questions for folks to consider with the breakout rooms. So in the conference and professional curriculum planning space, maybe talking some about what your programming looks like beyond just the annual meeting, and what folks are doing to kind of continue that engagement beyond just that one time of year where gathering tends to take place. From a governance and legislation perspective of how are you all within your organizations and how are you as leaders within the organizations maintaining connections with your government relations, staying up to date with legislative actions and kind of how that's impacting you all in your state and regional organizations. From a membership perspective, what are your strategies for membership engagement? What are you doing to increase membership and increasing membership diversity? From the nuts and bolts perspective, as the presidents and presidents-elects managing the executive committee and what you all are doing there, talking through meeting logistics, setting agendas, getting folks in the room to have conversation. And then from a succession and strategic planning perspective, as leaders, what are you doing to set the vision for your organization? What does onboarding and training look like? What does that leadership development look like for you all? And then a general open Q&A if none of these topics are speaking to you directly. So the plan again, folks will have the breakout rooms open. You all can join a room of your interest. Those of us panelists will be floating in between the different rooms and there to either help promote conversation and move conversation along. Otherwise, when you do join, just make sure to use the blue join room button and not the red button. Otherwise, you will leave the meeting full stop. And there will be a timer that runs, and you will be prompted to let you know when that 20 minutes is coming to a close and when we'll be coming back together as a group. So. Anything else from the panelists that you want to share before we open the breakout rooms? Or any questions that folks have before we jump into those?
People can use the chat if they have questions, or unmute or raise your hand. That's fine. Sherry?
Sure.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having us today. I just had a question about the annual meeting. I did hear Jonica mention that there will be a virtual option, but will all the sessions have the virtual option or just some of them?
I apologize for that, Sherry. Oh, Go
Okay,
ahead.
go ahead, Jonica. I was just going to say only some sessions will be virtual, Sherry.
Okay, thanks.
for the state and regional, we didn't have any virtual. The hope is to complement in the future more virtual options so that everyone doesn't feel like they have to make it to annual if they can or budgets don't permit.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
And I would also just piggyback on that. I mean, AACRAO loves content beyond just the annual meeting. So state and regional with webinars and so forth, we will be looking to, be able to provide some content, through the summer or even leading up to before the start of the school year. Those are kind of the prompts that from previous surveys that we've done when state and regionals want to hear from us in terms of the state and regional relations committee. But there's also on-demand content through I think online meetings or online curriculum, like a state and regional. So there's a lot of other options too.
And if you please feel free to forward any or proposal of any of your meetings you're having at your state and regionals to the annual meeting that you think will be great to share amongst the broad perspective. Please feel free to do that because we're always looking for session. So if you see a great session at your state and regional, please share that forward to the annual meeting of AACRAO.
We ready for breakouts?
I think so. Thank you.
All right. And if you do have trouble joining, you don't see the prompt or anything like that, just feel free to, in the chat, just say which room you'd like to join, and we'll pop you in there manually. Only one in governance and legislation so far. It's such an exciting topic.
That's Chris place that he likes.
Yeah, Chris and Scott Dittman.
Yes. I am going to join membership. Is where I'm heading. But first I'm gonna say hi, Tina Deneen.
Hi, everybody. I'm just lurking today, in case there's something that we need to do or support that this group needs. So I'm just lurking.
Hi, Tina.
Yeah.
Hello.
Well, lurk on. I'm gonna let them start the conversation first and then go in.
Amber, was there one that you wanted to jump to?
I don't have a preference.
There seems to be a lot in, well, not a lot, but a nice amount in succession, the strategic
Yeah.
planning.
Mhm.
Ooh, Tina, do you want to join that one? I think that might be a good one. to listen to.
Well, not to say that she can't, but I see that Phil is in there.
Oh,
And
yeah,
he's the chair of
he's
our
perfect.
strategic plan. But Tina, you can go on in there.
Yeah,
I was
no,
thinking more of just listening.
Yeah.
more so
right.
than
Just
talking.
listen. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I know Phil will take notes. I was thinking about going into conference and professional curriculum planning,
Mhm.
but who's in there? Is somebody in there?
Oh yeah, they got 4 people in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right now, governance and legislation is empty. Sherry moved herself out, and the open Q&A is empty, but every other one has at least 3.
Okay.
Janika and Amber, do you have a preference?
I think I'm interested in planning as well. So I think I'll
Okay.
go just listen.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna pop into membership.
Okay.
All right.
All right. And I'll just float and listen.
So how do I pop in there?
You
Do you
join.
see a blue button anywhere on your dashboard, Tina?
Of course I don't.
Do you see the breakout things? And if you scroll to the bottom, you should have the rooms.
I swear I don't see it.
But if you,
Oh, I
yeah,
see
no, it's
breakout.
like it
Mhm.
happens
Oh, yeah,
sometimes.
yeah,
So,
I
oh,
see
you do
it.
see it? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was gonna say I could put you in if you needed to.
no, I see it. I'll see it in a couple of minutes.
Okay.
Sounds great.
Let me see. I'm going to one that we are not in. I'm gonna jump in succession since Chris and Amber in the other. All right.
Have fun.
All
All right.
right. So so Mike, first of all, should we pause the recording or how do you usually?
Yeah, let's pause it.
Pause
The
it.
only danger about pausing it is that if you forget to restart it, then we
Yeah.
lose that other portion, but otherwise
Exactly.
this is effectively just dead air.
Right, exactly. Okay, yeah, because I was curious, like, do we pause it? Yeah, but you're right, like,
Mhm.
we have to be on it. Okay, I'll just pause it and I'll write myself a note here.
There we go. Welcome back, everyone.
It looked like numbers wise, strategic planning, succession planning, and conference planning were the top or the largest attended groups breakout. So I didn't see anybody in government and relations or the Q&A. So that was just interesting little observations.
Yeah.
Well, there was one in governance, but no one came to play.
Yes, I was that one.
All right. Well, I hope that everybody had really great conversations. I know I joined in on the membership conversations, which was I have a couple of little takeaways from there. But what we like to do now is we'll kind of do a debrief for the individual breakout rooms for folks to talk a little bit about where conversations that they had, and then Jackie for any AACRAO updates and kind of Q&A that you would like to walk through. So Jackie, do you want to go through your AACRAO updates first?
Well, before I do that, I was going to invite anyone that was in the middle of speaking before the breakout room cutoff, if they would like to share out what they were in the middle of saying, if that's okay. And if they want to, I want to open up the door and invite them into the floor. Oh, you can't be shy in the bigger room. You can't be shy in the bigger room.
I can go. I was a part of the conference and curriculum planning discussion, but we were also discussing member engagement, and I was saying that part of the difficulty we've had in the New Mexico organization is engaging with our private institutions. None of our private schools are currently members anymore. And I think a lot of that has had to do with our organization having a lot of focus on our government relations and working very closely with our higher ed department and our public education department on dual credit. And since a lot of that legislation, a lot of those things don't impact the private schools, they just haven't found the content, I think, to be relevant to them. So we're looking for ideas to re-engage with our private institutions here in New Mexico.
Thank you for sharing, Sam. Anyone else? Going once, going twice. I will move on to some brief AACRAO updates. Amber, did you want me to speak here or go back to the
We can
sharing?
go through the AACRAO updates, and then we can just open the floor for Q&A.
Okay. So briefly, some of the AACRAO updates. AACRAO is in the midst of some bylaw changes, and we had 2 webinars to inform our members. I'm not sure if you all were there. One was January 17th, and the most recent one was this week on the 25th. But if you go back through the Connect article that came out this week, there's an article written up about the bylaw changes, and you can also see the recorded webinar on that. And the other one is just remind you, if you want any federal update and industry update, to check out the AACRAO transcript. I think they come out, I know one came out this week. And ways that you can get involved in AACRAO. We are currently looking for session proposal for the Transfer Summit, along with applications to be a parliamentarian. And also applications are open for the Public Policy Advisory Group. So those are other ways you can get involved, and also into connect and learn more. We have the caucus gatherings that's happening, so take a look at those, and also different podcasts such as Heard, Higher Education and Real Diversity, or some things. And again, just a reminder that the annual meeting that Janika shared earlier in this webinar, so register for that. And it is a hybrid model, March 26th through the 29th. And not all sessions will be virtual, some of them, and particularly the bigger rooms events will be virtual, and our business meeting will be virtual. And any questions on those AACRAO updates? And now I will invite you all back to do some opening Q&A. So I'm interested in any of the rooms. Was there a common theme in what you were sharing out that would be important for the entire group to hear, and also for us to take back to AACRAO office?
For the group that I joined, it was curriculum and conference planning. I came in and there was a wonderful discussion about different ways to engage members through use of the best, highlighting those, recycling those, and then offering them spread out, because usually we have our conferences in person. Some have been hybrid, but a lot of people wanted to get back in person. So they will recycle the best of the best for individuals who couldn't come and then offer that as virtual engagement. So trying to find a way to balance out virtual, in person, and hybrid. I'm also trying to find ways to seek better member engagement. I guess we all kind of were seeing sort of dwindling, right? As students, as professionals, how individuals are getting involved if they wanted to sit on committees, being responsive to emails or to joining to let us know thoughts that they had. So there were a lot of different creative ways to solicit or elicit feedback from members through surveys. There's a listserv, so kind of using listserv formats and looking for the themes that exist, and then bringing those back and finding ways to deliver workshops and programs from that.
Thank you, Danica.
One from, I was in the nuts and bolts listening session, and I think one thing that came out of there is a couple of them are using member clicks for their association management. But I think one of the things is they still have physical documents, and how do we get documents into member clicks or in another way so that there's some sustainability there. And I know that I think Tina might have just signed off, but I can follow up with her later on. But I think that was one of the questions that we have for AACRAO office is there a way that we can get some more training for members related to member clicks? So it's not just, I mean, they have a train the trainer model, but if a lot of that knowledge is no longer with the institution organization, it's kind of left. And so that's one of the themes that I picked up there. And then another one was just how to make meetings a little bit more interesting when at the board level, because so much of state and regionals are operational boards. So we're into the weeds and the logistics and that type of stuff. So thinking about how can we make meetings a bit more interesting and engaging for those that are attending from the board.
Thanks, Chris. So the curriculum and nuts and bolts, anyone from membership benefits or succession and strategic planning?
So I was on the membership one, and actually I'll just ask this on behalf of others. So we were kind of talking about different benefits that we could give to members, or different benefits we could offer to promote them. And we were talking about, like, I know at Macro, we've started putting stuff up on an LMS, and others were curious about the LMS, and it looks like ours is connected to MemberClick. So I was curious, is that something that people who use MemberClicks have access to, or is that separate? Does anyone know? I didn't even realize others use MemberClicks. I thought that was just our own thing, but I guess other institutions are using it.
Macro was using it, but we made a decision last year to not renew. And because we actually have some of the similar services within our website that we're utilizing instead for the purpose we were using MemberClicks for. I don't have all the technical language on what that is within the website, but I could definitely get that to you if you had any interest.
We elected for AACRAO not to
Yeah.
pay for the LMS.
Okay, so it sounds like it is an option, but different groups would need to decide that they'd want to budget for it.
I think the other thing that I thought was interesting coming out of the membership conversation was student membership, and whether there are other organizations that are, whether it be students at the institution or students within your registrars or admissions offices, if there is any kind of membership or engagement that's happening at the student level. I had shared that at the University of Minnesota, we have had a little bit of a pipeline between our student employees and them transitioning into full-time positions within the office of the registrar. So really using that as also a way to be able to build some of that professional development and network for students before they graduate. And whether others are doing that.
Is there anything in strategic and succession planning? So I'll let them go first, and I think I heard a common thing. So something common that I am hearing is engagement, right? I've heard engagement in our curriculum. I heard engagement with our membership, and when I jumped into strategic planning, there was engaging with membership and finding a purpose for our members and our institution. And so so that was an overlapping theme in each of these areas that I'm hearing. And I think can't recall who said that, but it was like, what is our purpose? And you know, starting from that point of place to not only show the institution that we're on, the value in AACRAO at the state, regional, and national level, and also the value for our members, and saying, you know, getting that word out that there is value at all different levels in all different ways. That's something that I'm hearing, and in hearing that we can no longer, we sound like we're, if we can, try to have some form of virtual mode. And so the tricky thing with that being virtual and in person, that virtual piece is expensive. So determining if we're going to do something virtual, what will it be? But now that we've let that out, we let that piece out, it's hard to people for to come back in. So honoring flexibility in some way that we could still provide what we need to provide, but also be cost conscious. That's a hard thing that we're going to have to navigate because it does cost, and everything is costing coming out of the pandemic, the in-person, everything. And so how can we meet the needs of our membership in the ways they want to be met, and being cost responsible and being able to. So those are things that in the couple of rooms that I jumped in, I heard. I don't think I have anything else, Amber.
Yes, I'll open back up to others if there are any questions that folks want to pose to the larger group. Otherwise, we can always end a little early too.
Amber, if I could, there is a pre or post webinar survey that will be coming out and be emailed to you that will allow you to share additional training opportunities, meeting opportunities for us to get back together as leadership. Maybe there's a conversation you would like for state and regional to have with other executive board leaders. That's also an option. It doesn't have to just be for presidents, but maybe there's a broader conversation where you want treasurers to connect or programming VPs to connect, communications to connect, that exists. So please do share those ideas with us so that we can expand this conversation so everyone feels good about the work that they are volunteering to do. And we do appreciate you supporting your state and regionals as well as AACRAO.
Thank you.
And I would just kind of, oh,
I was just saying thanks. Go ahead, Chris.
oh, sorry. Yeah, thank you, Jonica. Your remark kind of reminded me of something else. We launched a treasurers affinity group last year that works with Ari Kaufman, who's the treasurer for AACRAO. So one of the strategic goals in alignment is how do state and regionals and AACRAO align. And we had about, I think, 8 people show up. But just so that you all are aware, AACRAO's website has under like who we are, a state regional page, and that's going to be your main source for all different types of content related to state regionals and things that we can do to support. And there's a little bit of information about this, the treasurers group. So just want to highlight that because that's pretty recent. We had our first meeting in November of last year and we know that treasurers play a very critical role within our state and regionals. So just wanted to let you know about that resource, and then maybe you can encourage treasurers to join and sign up for that listserv and group.
And I also would like to thank Chris, Jonica, and Amber for inviting me to participate with you all today. I am humble and grateful for all the work that everyone on here is doing. And if you have any questions for me, or if you want to connect with me, please feel free to do so. I am here. I understand the work that we do in both of our places. What I did not share in my opening was that I've chaired many committees at AACRAO, Student Access and Equity, Professional Access and Equity, Black Caucus. I've served on NNE. And sometimes I'm doing those things at the same time. And so I understand the work and the extra time you're doing outside your professional and personal lives. And I thank you for that. I dropped my email in the chat box. And with that, I wish you all well and have a great weekend. And just know I meet you in gratitude.
Thank you all. I also added all of our emails into the chat. This meeting has been recorded. The recording will be shared and hopefully have an opportunity to see everyone at the annual meeting. Take care.